Oh, I don't know what's going on. Hello. Good morning. Good evening. Can you all see me? There's two things I want to show you before I do anything else. Right. So the first thing I will say to you, above all else, is it was a fantastic weekend. I want to say absolutely thank you to Lisa and Stephen for putting us up for a couple of nights and providing the Q Stoke facilities, even though they come from obviously via the parish. It's a fantastic venue. Um, it was well attended. How many people do you think was there?
I reckon around 70-ish.
Anywhere between 70 and 100.
Yeah, it was hard to say, but
Hard to say, but there was a lot of people there, and it went on from 10 o'clock in the morning up until 4 in the afternoon. Just after, I could have gone on for a lot longer. I mean, I absolutely love doing the questions and answers, even though there was some questions there that they are related to the Constitution in some ways, but it's not well, it is a magic wand. The magic wand is the Constitution is the solution, and if you turn back to ancient rights and customs, if you want to turn around this tyranny, it's the people that have to do it. Which I'll say no more. I received a fantastic gift, and I'm really grateful for that from the Wessex Mint. And someone come up and give me a piece of silver. And again, there's a little coin in here, which I haven't took the coin out yet. It's a fantastic little silver coin. And I think I'll have to look at it and zoom in to find out who it was. But I think it's whoever they. I think it's a silver minted coin. Another gift. I like this. This is going on my keyring, right? So a lever at St George's Cross, and it says "Made in England." Right? You definitely got to have some of that. I was going to show you some other pictures, which we're going to get into. I'm really grateful to Simon Lacey because the petition we put back into our display, the petition of right, and there was the petition of right bundle that Simon Lacey made up for us, and we sold quite a few of them this weekend. It's the first time we've put them out and put them for sale. People were really interested and understood what their rights are. So it was a fantastic event. To all of the people, we went out for a meal on Sunday evening and had a couple of pints. Just to let you know, where we were staying, it was absolutely stunning in the attic room. Right, when I say stunning, it was really lovely. I mean, better than most hotels I stay in. Right, but even better than that, there were 5 little Yorkies. So, and they was like all round it, and they were doing it, and they've all got their own characters, right? And it is nice to be around animals, and especially when it's like a loving little family, which was Lisa and Stephen, and the dogs and their friends, and everyone just gels together, and you think and talk and have these discussions. So it was fantastic, but the event was fantastic. I'm going to try and bring it up. Jason and Laura, who else was there? There's quite a few people. There's so many different people. Yeah, Chris came. There was a lady and gentleman that come from Wales. There were some other people there. We're quite close to Wales. Well, that event was quite close to Wales. So it is really fantastic. Right? Everyone appeared to enjoy it. I think a lot of people learned a lot. I do want to make sure I say this again. I'll say it to everyone. it is really difficult. Even that was an all-day event to try and explain the Constitution of England, even in basic terms, in an all-day event. We got 1100 years of history, legal history, and we inherited that, right? But one of the questions I wanted to put over to people, well, not one of the questions, someone else gave me a book. And not only am I grateful for the book, I'm going to see if I can bring over my piece of equipment, and then I'm going to get into a few things and show you some elements of this. So this book is, let me just see when it was. I think this was written in this is the first published in 1937, second edition 1947. So this is the 1947 one, right? And I just want to make sure everyone gets this. So what I'm going to do is show you this book. So someone has given me this book at the event, right? And I was really grateful because it's basically the constitutional history of medieval England, right? So what I'm going to briefly do is show you it. And there's a question that often comes up. There's another part of this book that tells you, oh, let's cancel that and put it on the right camera. Right, there it is. Right. So the book is called The Constitutional History of Medieval England. And there it is there. Right. So I've received this, and like I say, I'll go through it and I'll read different elements. There is the year of it. First published 1937. 1947, 1948 is when it all really started accelerating. But from the English settlement to the reign of Alfred, the folk organised by kindred and lordship, the tribal kingships, and then it goes through all the different elements of how we come by what we're at the moment. So the constitutional history of medieval England from the settlement to the reign of Alfred. So from the English settlement, it goes in, but there's one element I wanted to quickly show you without going through the whole book. I will show you this part, right, because it is important that I've underlined it and just said. Many people ask me about the generations. Well, there's another element in this book that says it's 9 generations, but this one here, we're talking about particular things. So I want to say this. This is a great read, by the way. And it sort of starts to refer. I'll read all of it, but the main part that is underlined, I don't normally mark books, but this one was quite important. So I'm going to read this out to you. The most primitive idea as to the nation is that it is a kindred, enlarged past all rememberable degrees of relationship, but holding to a tradition of common ancestry, human or divine. Nations speak of themselves as Anglican, and I don't know what that word is, but it's Unachlisin. Janet can read that one. And among many of the northern races, a royal stock transmits the blood of the founder, bears his name, and embodies the legendary unity of the nation in the person of a king. So the oldest Danish dynasty are I think that's the Yinglis, from the divine hero Ninvi, I think that says. While in Britain, the West Saxons call themselves Jewite, trace the, let me just see if I can see this a little bit better. It's going through the wrong side of my glasses. And trace the descent of the house of Cerdic from Jewess. Such groups, ideally kindred grown to nations, in practice political communities, are spoken of as the late Alfredian chronicles and translations as Magaths. Groups united by one blood and one custom. This sense of common blood is carried deeply into the structure of the nation. The rank, status, and privilege of each man are his birthright. They are only valid if he can establish their inheritance from 4 generations and point to a full kindred. So there's the 4 generations, and point to a full kindred extending through 4 degrees of descent. It is not until the requisite generations have inherited his freedom and a free kin has been built upon an original act of emancipation that his descendants will grow into their full right in the folk. And what is true of the passage from slavery to freedom is said also to have been true of that from freedom to nobility. So you can go from freedom to then from slavery to freedom, and then from freedom to nobility. Only at the 4th generation does the rank become heritable and carry with it its full privilege, right? And then it goes in and it tells you certain elements. So, for the man freed at the altar has no work or inheritance, right? So, all I'm doing is just showing you that briefly. Why is that an interesting book? There's another book I've got here. I think it's that one. Source book, Constitutional History. It might be this one. And this tells you all about constitutional history. I'll have to go through that one again tonight. Source book of the Constitutional History from 1660, Oswald Dykes. And then it gives you all the statutes, the list of cases quoted, the Restoration, Monarchy, the Revolution, Settlement, etc. So everything about England, basically, is recorded for hundreds of years. I need to go through that in a second. But again, that still talks about the Teutonic tribe, or the Teutonic way of doing things. What's that coming up on there? So the reason I've read that out is because a person has just given me that book from 1947, Source Book of Constitutional History. Not that one. That one. The Constitutional History of Medieval England. Right. So just to make sure you can see that, it's a really old book. And that is fantastic, because people keep asking me how many generations. So in medieval times, it was at least 4. And there are other references I've seen to 9. But what's going on today is that they're flooding people into the country, destroying us as a people, and giving them access to power, to parliament, to access to destroy our constitution and our laws and our legal system. The whole lot is going, right? And that was what we was discussing at the weekend. And it was fantastic that someone just gave me a book that answered that question. So did everyone just see that on the screen, and you can understand what that is? Now, before I go on to a few other little bits and pieces, again, I am extremely happy. Different gifts I've had. We've also walked away with a wonderful present from Lisa and Stephen, which is like a natural hamper we've got honey. Let's go and have a look at some of this stuff. Go on. Natural honey. What one's that one? We've got this one here. Look. Turmeric juice.
Turmeric juice.
What is it called? Turmeric juice. Turmeric juice, is it?
Turmeric.
I don't get it that bad. What? Let's have a look at that one. That one there is Sedgemoor honey. Right, there's me honey. Oh dear. And because this has to go in the car with us all the way back, right? As Janet was holding on to that, don't start, right? I was saying, you all right with that cucumber? Yeah. She's looking at it. Right? But that's nice. That is. What is that?
It's a marrow.
Oh, and a marrow we got as well, and then
And
we've got
load of
some other
fruit.
stuff. We've got loads of fruit, which I love fruit, and right, red wine. Yeah, the most important one, right? Because give us that one. Let's see what I mean. Oh, yeah, it's like being a generation game, isn't it? Trying to remember everything, right? Obviously, Janet, and at the event as well. Like some people there, was it you who's making my coffee?
Mm-hmm.
Like Janet was making me cold coffee at the event, right? So people could see that she was making me cold coffee. Right? Most of the audience was going. So Janet got this. The Lisa and Stephen said, "We've solved your problem of making him cold coffee, Janet." Why? So I've got a smart cup warmer, what Janet did, right? So in the morning when the coffee goes on, it sits on the smart cup warmer, right? Just to let you know. So Janet is very happy. The cold coffee situation is possibly resolved. Right. That's it. I have a good red wine. Let me have a quick look here. Lisa and Stephen love the hamper. Oh, so lovely. Yeah, that I'll tell you something now. Like I said, and I'm not just saying this. It was lovely down there. It was like re-energizing. But I'm going to show you a couple of things now because we're going to get back to what we need to be looking at tonight. And there's a couple of things I want to show you. You're not going to like. One is this. Breaking news. And you're not going to like this. Breaking armed police and ambulance crews responded to a machete attack in Truro, Cornwall. And it's about an hour and a half away from where I am. The incident occurred at Callanwick Street around 1:45 p.m. on Monday. One man suffered a potentially serious injury. Two others sustained minor injuries. Two men in their 20s were arrested on suspicion of grievous bodily harm with intent and remain in custody. These those involved are believed to be known to each other with no wider risk to the public. No wider risk to the public, right? So what I'm going to do now is bring this up on your screen, and the whole event will be played to you as we watch, right? Now, they don't look like they come from Cornwall.
Not machete, bro. I think he's got machete. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bro's got a fucking. Bro's just in a machete.
So anyone out there that thinks this is commonplace in London, right? This is now going on in Devon, Cornwall, all around the place, right? There was recently an event in Oakhampton where some Muslims were arrested for supplying firearms, unlicensed firearms, obviously, to whomever in the area. Just letting you know that is a classic situation. And there's another one I want to show you, which is this one. Before we go any further, this is again another important situation that's happening. A statement from Moscow. Been a stabbing up here. 15-year-old. Wow, it looks like Kinner like me, right? Strongbow. They are doing another leaflet. Please don't kill us. So all I'm doing is making sure you understand what is being imported into our country. You've got people started to rise up. You're entitled constitutionally under our ancient rights and customs, one, to petition. So if you don't call it a protest, go out there. There's an HMO and these people are being moved in. It's called the hue and cry, where you hue and cry. So you can go out there as part of the community and say, this is because you're warning the community. Should be peaceful. If you do it as a proper, real, written, there's a way of writing a petition, right? And you cannot be arrested under the Bill of Rights for doing that, right? If they arrest you, they're committing an offence. They're in contempt of statute and contempt of sovereign, meaning the police. And I think it is absolutely right, as I see on another video with Zach, where he said, you need to choose your side. Well, they've chosen their side. And their side is to ignore the Constitution and ignore the people of England and to assist the enemy, to aid and give comfort to the enemy. That is what the British police are doing, right? And the veterans out there, but you know, because you've seen this in real life in other places, you understand what's going on here. This isn't a game, right? This is a full Comanche takeover of this country, right? And I'm going to show you something else on a different subject, but just showing who and what these people are. A statement from Moscow. This is where successive PMs have placed the UK and its people. The UK is actively participating in a war in Ukraine, but our governments didn't tell us because they didn't ask us, right? They changed our constitution or attempted to by fraud. They didn't tell us, they just did it, and they buried it, and they kept it hidden from us. And there's various elements I explained over the weekend, but it was completely unlawful. And then what he says is not in my name. Hopefully you can hear this.
Britain is participating in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime. Britain is methodically and consistently adding fuel to the fire and methodically and consistently plotting to prevent a peaceful settlement process. That is precisely what Great Britain is doing. Our armed forces are carrying out the necessary work and gathering the relevant data to identify the production sites for such missiles and other military equipment, and are taking measures to destroy these facilities. Britain is participating in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime.
Right, so hopefully everyone understands. Did you all just see that? Or well, hopefully you all just saw what went on there. Right. There is another element that I wanted to show you, so hopefully I can bring that back down a second. Let me give you something else. A complete idiot from our lot. Let me see who it was. It's not come up my screen again. But people need to understand that we are under occupation, and I explained to someone over the weekend who said we're running out of time. I said, listen, that is a misconception. We've run out of time. We've been under occupation for a long, long time. We've got to start operating now to take the country back, right? There's no ifs, there's no buts. But England needs to rise, and it needs to rise as England, right? Anyone who still thinks that Britain is a country and the union is a good thing, you're not understanding the strategy of these people and what they're actually trying to achieve. So there's a lot of bad stuff going on out there. All I'm doing, whilst it was very positive over the weekend, I'm just letting you know what's going on. And here's what they have just done to me. So I want you to bear in mind, these foreigners are being put into this country. They're being put in social housing. Their rents are being paid. They're having special food cards where they go into Lidl's and buy loads and loads of food, give a special card over, walking out with trolley loads of food, and it's all being paid for by the British taxpayer, right? Well, today, the DWP give me my final answer, and they have completely cut off all of my money. Everything. Zero, right? After I thought this was all resolved, right? They have completely stopped it, right? So I live in this tiny little place in Devon. I've got absolutely no chance of getting a job, certainly with my social media profile, right? For various other reasons, it is unlikely that I'll ever get a job, right? I do what I do. I'm not suggesting. I mean, I what I do now is what I do now, right? So there's going to be some serious thought put into what's going on, because it looks like they've deliberately targeted me, and there is going to be a court case, but there's no money coming in, zero, right? So one way or the other, I've got to work out how to up my game, right? And again, whilst I'm grateful for all of the donations, assistance, don't get me wrong, I'm not banging trouble yet, but I'll be banging trouble in a couple of months' time unless we liven this right up. And the only people, I mean, when I do these events, I can see the eagerness on the people. They're chomping at the bit. They understand. They get the fraction of what I've told them and said, let's just take this forward, right? The problem we've still got, there's too many people out there, especially in the military, that seem to think that this British flag is something to lay down your life for. When they're prosecuting 452 of you in the background, it's fairly obvious we're under occupation, and people need to understand we need to take this country back. And when I say this country, I mean England, right? If they can do this to me for various issues in the background, right, and have doctors' letters sent to them and ignore their own framework agreement completely, right? What do you think they're doing to other people who can't fight back? I think I've still got half a brain left and can come back at them. But these people are pure, utter communists, right? And I believe this is absolutely... Jason has said, I wish Ellen would fund the ECP. Well, it looks like from some information I've seen today on Twitter, they've done, and I believe it come from Andrew Bridgen, that they've done an audit of the money that was coming in. Do you know, they said a number of these HMOs and a number of these hotels stopped being paid, right, for about 4 months. And they weren't getting no money. They weren't being paid. So a lot of them started kicking them out because they weren't getting their coin, right? And it turns out the money that was paying a lot of these people wasn't coming directly from the British government. It was coming from US aid, right? It was coming from US aid. US aid was funding the invasion. So how do we look at that? Now you've got patriots that are literally under attack in this country, and what can we do? It just beggars belief. So that is the highlight of my life today. They've just sent me a notification to say that's it. We've terminated your claim. You're getting nothing, right? Just to let you know. So for me to carry on doing what I'm doing, we've got to make sure that we create the English Constitution Society as the CIC and put everything in, and then we're going to have to start applying for grants. We need to start professionalising it, pushing it out, and it's you, the audience, that are helping us build that and do it, right? I mean, the amount of time and effort I've put into this, and you have, right? We can't allow them just to literally stick their finger up at us. But I'm going to be straight with you. I'm pretty sick of these people in the background. And I'm not talking about the people at the event, because most of them absolutely got it. Majority of them got it. About the British versus the English. But there's people out there, mainly degree educated, right, who have got something in their head. British. And Rupert Lowe needs to change his tack on this, because if he doesn't, he is establishment just like the rest of them, right? I don't care what positives there are in the background. You are leaving the core element of this in place, right? You're leaving the core element of it in place. And the only way you're ever going to win is to be completely independent as a nation. USAID, the government organisation for money laundering. Yeah, USAID. It turns out that they're the people. Now, let me see if I can go and find it for you, because it was interesting. I think it was as soon as I saw Gwent University. There's a few here. Yeah, it's right. So there's two of them. I'll bring this one up first. This is from Mike Bentz. I think people really need to start looking at what's going on here. I follow Mike Bentz anyway, but as soon as I saw Gwent University, telltale blend of being one, run by someone in high-level statecraft, two, awash in woke academia, and I said this over the weekend. The problem we've got with academia and degrees and professors is we've got the Jason Ardays. Imagine Jason Arday times thousands, and they're churning out absolute rubbish inside universities, and they're the people training our lawyers, solicitors, and future judges. And them judges are now coming through the ranks. There's something else I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes. Woke academia, free, overrun by transgender madness. I immediately knew USAID must have been funding it. Turns out it was USAID partnered for 25 years, right? So imagine what they're doing to us now. USAID is another way of saying communist laundered money. Relationship with Gwent University appears to have started in the late 1990s through Gwent's International Centre for Reproductive Health. Beginning around 1999, USAID and Family Health International worked with ICRH Gwent on HIV/AIDS programs in Kenya. Remember who else was involved with that? Meaning Anthony Fauci, who actually got an award from the Jesuits. Over time, Gwent helped build local ICRH branches in Kenya and Mozambique, which became increasingly independent organisations, but remain closely connected to the Gwent-based ICH network. From there, the relationship expanded. USA funded ICRH linked work to HIV, AIDS and reproductive health, sex workers and other key populations. By the 2010 and 20, USAID was funding Kenya, Mozambique through health programs, increasingly specific programming for LGBT and transgender populations. Outside reproductive health, USAID money also reached Gwent. I think that's Gwent. Is that GHENT? Researcher indirectly through programs in agriculture, nutrition, environmental conservation, for example, through IITA and the Engine Nutrition Program in Ethiopia, Congo Basin, Carpi program. So the basic evolution was USAID, ICRH, help in Africa, blah, 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 blah. Right? There's another one coming up here. I'm going to go back to this. There's the one from Andrew Bridgen that I told you about. This is really important that people understand what's going on here. In April 2025, multiple news and hospitality networks reported that hotel operators, this is in 2025, had not received payments for months for the use of their hotels to house illegal migrants. The reason for this was they were being paid by funds from US aid, which President Trump had shut down. Right, so anyone saying Trump's a bad guy, they weren't getting their money, right? But they wanted their money because it was all part of the fiddle, right? So there's loads of things going on. And then what do they do with us? They start attacking people like me for telling people what the Constitution is. And we need to set up in various ways and get this stuff down. Mr. and Mrs. English, no worries, Mark. It's fine. What's that one? Mark is fine. Mr. and Mrs. I've been lurking in the background. What else was there that I wanted to talk about? There was something. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. This is really important. It is the title of the show tonight. I want to see if I can bring it up on your screen. Whether I can actually bring it up or not is another matter. Where did I go and get the thing for this? It's gone missing. Let me have a look. Let me see if I can find it. How would the Constitution gain control back of the Bank of England? There's a number of ways that you can do that, but the Bank of England, in effect, don't forget that was a Scot. That was actually created by Scott. So let me just have a look and see what's going on there. Well, I've got to find that. I don't know what time all that's going to be. I want to have a million things hit me at the same time here. What am I looking for? Where did I get that from? There was maybe that was my previous. I did put this out for everyone to have a look at it. US aid, US Agency for International Development. I think so. Is the question. But people do need to understand that it's extremely bad. This is regionalisation in action, the destruction of England's counties. There is Andy the Gabby Cabby putting that out a couple of seconds ago. And this is happening locally in Devon. I've just seen a carload of letterboxes driving up the road, and I'm just thinking, wow, it's happening a lot faster than what I thought it would be. But we are now under occupation, and people don't even get it, right? Andy the Gabby Cabby. This is regionalisation in action, the destruction of England's counties. Exactly. Mayors to get powers to overrule local councils on planning decisions, right? And unless parishes step in, like Piddington is at the moment, and I like what Piddington are doing. I haven't spoke to them. There's various elements of that people need to look at. Let me see if I can go and find what I wanted to find. I'm probably going to have to go back to my profile. This is huge. And it is huge as well. Is that still pinned or is that on Rumble? Right, so I need to show, where did that come out? That's the Rumble one. Oh, that's it there, right? If you haven't seen this, you need to understand what this is, and then I'm going to explain some things to you. This is huge. This was put out by Gunther Eagleman. Let's have a look and see. He's got 1.7 million followers. on Twitter. This is huge. Right, now listen to what I'm saying very carefully, because I'm going to explain to you that this is very similar to what's going. Well, it's not similar. It's the same as what's going on in England. In fact, it was passed from England or the British to the Americans. Right. The Trump Education Department just recommended stripping the American Bar Association of its power to accredit law schools. A 500-page report concludes the ABA's accreditation arm is not independent. It operates like a cartel being a monopoly, that injects its own political ideology into the process. Now, I've already said there's been some really important cases coming out of America. Jason in the audience has helped me because some of them would have massively slipped through the net. So I've started to see that stuff coming forward, and we will be able to use it in the UK or in England. For decades, the ABA has held a near monopoly. There's the word. It's unlawful. In America, they call it antitrust laws. In England, we have an anti-monopoly commission. How and why it was allowed for the lawyers, barristers, solicitors, etc., to do what they're doing is really bad. Right, so for decades, the ABA has held that near monopoly, right? And it's not just decades. In England, it's been for probably the best part of 2 centuries, right? That causes a massive problem. No more forced ideology, no more organisation controlling the pipeline, right? So one organisation controlling the pipeline of these barristers. Now, the reason why people like me can't speak in any court on your behalf is because they created a situation where the subjects of the realm and the people pushing forward with the Constitution, we're not allowed to speak, right? And that goes against our laws and customs because they have a monopoly on that, right? So this is how you break the stranglehold, is what they said. So again, they said, so that's the American Bar Association. He's basically saying Trump, and he took over the education system. He's basically scrapping a lot of the federal education system and allowing it to go back, one, to state education, but two, really importantly, he's allowing home education in a big way. Now, what they're doing in this country is shutting down home education. Home education is the best way, right? Because you can teach your kids about the Constitution, and no school in this country, not even a law school, will teach them about it. And we got to let now. My personal opinion, and it is only my personal opinion, it is probably the opinion of this audience, is everyone in a position of authority, whether they be a police constable, a magistrate, a judge, a solicitor, a barrister, a member of parliament, House of Lords, you name it, council, anyone in the council officials, everyone needs to do a minimum 2-year training course on the English Constitution, so everyone knows, and no one, if you plead ignorance, it don't matter because there's no defence of ignorance in England, right? The fact you don't know is your problem. If I know this and you know this, there's no reason why they shouldn't know it. And denying it is not a good thing, right? In fact, denying the Constitution is subverting the Constitution, and subverting the Constitution is treason. You've only got to go and have a look at the Cato conspiracy of 1820 to find out that to be true. Any other questions from our wonderful audience? So we need to kick in various ways. I am going to be working. It's obviously going to cause a lot of pressure for me now. I don't, I mean, I do know what I'll be doing, but it's a nightmare. I knew they would come and get me in some way. You can't do what I do and not have the system trying to attack you. And you can't do what I do. So really and truthfully, we need to all of us, and I do say all of us because everyone is part of this in taking back the country. Different forms to us. Let me just go up. Now here's another one I wanted to show you. Yep, and it's just come up from Andy the Gabby Cabby. You're going to like this one. Let's have a look. That one there. Touch wood, it's come up on the screen.
Today,
there, Andy the Gabby Cabby has just said idiots. Ministry of Defence. We're sharing technology with Ukraine that will enable them to build the Storm Shadow missiles on their own soil. By the way, anyone, in this country, there are documents, and if you want to call them blueprints, whatever, of hand-making machine guns, 9mm machine guns in this country. If you get caught with one of them as a PDF, because it is a proper blueprint of how to make a machine gun in a factory. If you had a sheet metal work factory, you could be knocking these out, little Sten guns, by the hundreds, right? All you need is 9mm ammunition after that. If you get caught with a blueprint for that in a PDF, they will likely send you to prison, right? Just for having the blueprint. What they're doing is sharing the technology with Ukraine that will enable them to build Storm Shadow missiles on their own soil, right? So they're not giving them a blueprint to build a Sten machine gun or any form of machine gun. They're sending them the blueprint for sending missiles into Russia. And they think Russia's going to put up with that, right? We will stand with them for as long as it takes, Defence Minister Luke Pollard this morning from Devonport on Ukrainian independence, right? There it is. Now, let me just see what he says.
Today, we are making announcements in support of the UK-French missile called Scalp, better known in the UK as Storm Shadow, which is its sister missile that we have, but fundamentally the same type of technology that will enable our Ukrainian friends to produce that technology in Ukraine. And that's important because it helps keep them able to defend their nation. Now, I've been to Ukraine many times. I've seen the faces not just of those who are serving on the front line, their determination, their courage, but I've also seen the civilians, those people who have lost their homes in Russian strikes, those people who have lost loved ones to Putin's illegal aggression. And I said to them in person, as I say to them now, that we will stand with them for as long as it takes. That's a commitment, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because Ukraine's security is our security as well. And in this more dangerous and uncertain time, allowing Russia to defeat Ukraine would be a threat to our own national security, just as much as it would be to our Ukrainian allies.
I'm not going to make any comment on that. There's three little words I could describe. And you can use various words. Andy's American political channel is Englishman in New York. Yeah. Treasonous bastards. Ukraine is not our friends. I agree. Tracy Tourism or donate direct to Graham Moore. Russia is not our enemy. I agree. Ace Jace, evening, Gooner Mum. Hello, Gooner Mum. How you doing, darling? Graham, books are getting destroyed at the moment. How can we, as a collective, collect them before they push AI alternatives? Just start going.
I think they're working in the dentist again.
That's not a dentist chair drill, is it?
No, it's the workman in there drilling.
Is that definitely a workman?
Fuck that for a
I
dentist.
can hear someone drilling, and there's a dentist next door, and it sounds like a drill for a dentist. Is British a civil status? Yeah. British is a civic nationality. It is a statutory nationality. It is not a natural nationality, which is what the English is, and the Scots and the Welsh. Hi all, I'm still at the second a factory is built, Russia will take it out. Well, I've got to be honest with you. I think they're very soon gonna hit a few places in the UK, and unfortunately, many of them places are going to be in England. And I believe there's places in Devon, Somerset, places near Bristol. There's a few places that they will whack. That's the honest truth. I can't put up for it for much longer. Let me have a look. Anyone can be British, and the bar is lower than a snake's belly. No, I agree with you. And again, what we're seeing now is more than disgusting. I don't know what to do in relation to that. Anyway, the isn't extracting teeth; they're extracting information for the enemy. And they won't defend their own people here in England, but can it? Yeah, no. It's disgusting. Everything that's going on. We're under occupation. People have got to get that. We are under occupation. There's only one way to take this. You've got to take England back and save England, and then we'll explain to the Scots what the truth is and everything about what's actually gone in history, so they can stop this brainwashing stuff that they've got there now. And the Welsh were with us. If people knew the truth, we would take this back in minutes rather than, well, not minutes, but days rather than weeks and months. Ukraine is just money laundering. No wonder the government have everything in place for mass. Merlin, how are you doing out there? Let me have a look. Anything else you wanted me to cover? I'll try and get the video footage. I don't think we got all of the second part and the questions and answers in. Just to let Juicy and Lucy know how important this is. A number of people were asking for an A4 leaflet, and some other people were asking for smaller banners, like smaller ones that they could use, of the rights where they was written out. And I said, that's not all of them, but that's the basics of our Bill of Rights. And people was like, wow. So we are going to be doing some of that. We've just got to up our game with a lot of things. And I'm going to be working on this booklet. The booklets that Simon Lacey did have flown out. So there are a number of ways where we could go through the individual rights and then write a further booklet or thicker booklet or whatever you want to describe it on the particular right. So everyone then starts to say, oh, now we know what the law is on that. Right? It should be simple for everyone to understand it. Once Ukraine has the Storm Shadow blueprint, they will also sell them on to the highest bidders. Lee Gould, absolutely correct. That's exactly what that they are, international terrorists, and there's people are trying to stop it, and the British are allowing it to happen. The British are, in effect, international terrorists. Julie Oakway, hi for Truth Finder seminar yesterday. You went to the seminar yesterday, Graham. Brilliant. My late partner would have loved it. He was very English and proud of it. Truth Finder. Where's Truth Finder? Is Truth Finder in there? I loved watching everyone and talking to people. So many people come up to me. We've got a great community and we can get this going. And I love the Southwest. And I'll repeat again, the Q Stokes group is fantastic, right? the energy of that group, the energy of the people, the energy in that parish hall. It's not a town hall as such, but it's a parish meeting place, etc. And all we're doing is telling people the real, and the way we set it out, I'll show you on the screen, but we set it out and we had extra banners on there. So we added observance of due process, petition of right, because they got stolen when I went to Rotherham off the top of my car. Does anyone remember that? The lefties nicked them off the top of my car, and I never managed to get to make the other ones up. There's still one more banner that I really need to make, which I'm going to look at shortly. Let me go and have a look. City of London as terrorists. HJ, it was a great seminar yesterday. Yeah, HJ was there. He even got under my van. I said the van was the dog's bollocks, so he got on his knees and was looking underneath. I said, "What are you looking for?" He said, "It's bollocks." Fucking mental, wasn't it? We did have a laugh, though. The City of London are terrorists. Juicy and Lucy, common law, constitutional rights belonging to the English. That's the one. Let me see if I can bring that up on the screen. But what we want to do is print some of them out if we can, so people can then buy them off us and take them home and frame and do what they. We used to sell plaques. Brett used to sell the plaques for us. The plaques used to sail out. They was like brushed aluminium and then etched. They look fantastic. People loved them. Well, people still love them. They've still got them. I go around people's houses and they got them on their wall. The price of silver has gone up again. Whoop, whoop. I don't know how much silver's gone up to. After World War II, we gave the Russians blueprint for the jet engine. Yeah. Simon Lacey, IOP. Simon Lacey, well done, that man. So we got a lot of these little things we got coming up. It's starting to come out about the pre-CIA and Brit Intel in World War II working against the USA and England's future. Yeah. Now, people are starting to work out there is a serious problem after World War II. It's not difficult to work it out. Let me leave that on the screen for a little while. Any questions from the audience? I still haven't put in there to try and get this other thing sorted out. I am going to do it, and we'll put it up there. Are there any other seminars in the pipeline? We do, but we wait for people to come up. One of the good and very positive things about this seminar is it was a hall, but it didn't have there wasn't a bar there, meaning there wasn't a drinks bar there. I like them places because then people are not sitting there going There were teas and coffees and food put on by the people who was running it. So it was all fantastic. I had jacket potato with what? Coleslaw.
Cheese and homemade coleslaw.
Home
By a lovely
cheese.
Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen did it, didn't he? It was absolutely superb. Gooner mum, but yeah, laugh that like you're okay in the end. Let me have a look and see any other questions coming in. Let me see if I can bring that up. Has anyone got a picture of one of them old plaques that we had? Let's see if I can bring up one of them plaques. They definitely don't like us, though. I've got a funny feeling we're having more of an impact than what people realise. That always happens because they start to realise people have started talking about the Constitution and they'll try and find where the point is, where it's coming from. And remember that brief video I showed you with Alison Young on it, when she was saying, we've got no higher authority to write these statutes, so they can't be constitutionally unchangeable because there was not a higher authority. Convention Parliament is the higher authority. I can't believe that she's teaching law, and a lot of them lawyers that she's teaching, or future lawyers are going to be becoming judges, thinking that a convention parliament is nothing. That's not the truth. That is an absolute lie, and it's almost communist in nature. Well, it ain't almost, it is. Let me have a look. DD, could you use some of our churches or chapels for the seminars? You'd have to get 5 of our frames in, which I'll show you. So the banners go on, you go 2, 2, 2, 2. So there was 8, wasn't there? Well, have you got a picture?
I've got a picture of the front.
Send it to me on WhatsApp, and I'll see if I can show them. Merlin silver is £50 a troy ounce. Right, I wonder if EP70 is watching. EP70, tell us. Always said it, DD. You're a very important link between England and America. Well, I think we've got to start pushing it now. And we need an army of us to start contacting Elon Musk and say, listen, we need help. And we need help with this constitutional. We've got to really up our game with trying to get grants and set this stuff up. And we will be able to do it. Merlin, 16, is that £1,600 a kilo? 1,600. EP70, are you out there, or are you lost in the jungle of grandchildren? Huh?
Just sent that photo through.
Let's see if I can find this. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. Got a number of them come through. Have you got that link, Bob Gunther? Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, there's a couple of there's me having a chat. I think my wife's got. It's either my you laughing?
No, darling.
It's either my stomach's too big or my waistcoat's shrunk. Right, but let's see if I can bring this one up. So this is the hall from the back, and then what you can't see is the other banners went off right across the top. Let me have a look and see. There's nothing else on there that I don't. Oh, I can't. I've got to send that to myself, and otherwise your name goes out there. I think this is all outrageous, really, where we have to be so careful with what they're doing. Can I pull that up so people can see that? Let me see if I can pull that up. Right. The hall goes all the way to the back, but we're trying to get in. And then on the left and the right, we had the massive one, and we pulled a frame up. I will be able to show it to you. Let's see if I can pull that one up. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. Oh. So basically, there's... right, that's the hall. Right. So on the left here, that's a new banner. And that and what it does, it highlights our ancient laws and customs. It highlights the Charter of Liberties. It highlights the Charter of the Forest. And it highlights there was a solemn promise and law that brought it and said all of this is forever, right? And it talks about anything that goes against this is null and void, right? And then you had the Magna Carta of 1297. Then you had the third one along, which is, let me see if I can bring it up, observance of due process of law. And it talks about, so I told people about the difference between null and void, the petition of right, and then we had the booklet that we was giving away and showing people. But what we're going to do is go through all of these laws and then make a booklet and then show in law where this was brought up in law. Again, I was telling people we've got no such thing as dearthitude in England, right? You got the Crown and Parliament Recognition Act and what that said, the Coronation Oath Act. Then you've got next to that the Bill of Rights, and then you've got the Act of Settlement. So as you look at, so the whole of that was there. You had a big speaker on the back. On the right-hand side, you had another banner. So when we come back after the break, which was at roughly 1:30, wasn't it? at 1:30, we brought the other large banner right the way round, and it went in the middle. And then I talked through all of the rights and showed how they linked to these elements, right, or some of the elements, and then explained what I needed to explain about that. So does everyone understand how it looked? And then what I'm going to do is try and get that. Let's see if there's anything I can show you. Oh, there's one. Oh, right. People was asking me that. I didn't know that you could just go and buy them on the... So you can buy a 5x7 inch, a 12 by 18 inch. Oh, let's have a look at this. Where was that on? Is there a direct link to that? Okay. Let's have a look at this one. Because we're going to seriously start upping our game with this. There it is there. So that's what we was talking about. I then explained to people what the image was on the right. It's the wolf in sheep's clothing, but it's in British clothing. And then you've got the Fabian Society cat badge on that. And at the top of the hat is the hammer and sickle. But what you're seeing on this, as far as I can see, is a 12 by 18, a 20 by 30, or a 24 by 36. Right, so again, everyone should know that that exists. What one's this? Not sure if I can bring that up on the screen or not.
I said, yeah, but the access settlement.
Have I gone pear-shaped on that already?
It's nothing to do with the colour of your skin.
Not sure if
You
that's
come from-
muted. I think it's possibly muted.
His parents come from Estonia. Right.
Stop sharing a second. Unmute the site. Or unmute the tab. I'll have to stop that a second because I can't show you it. For some reason, it's gone off my screen. Get off my screen. Oh, there you go. Don't know why it's doing it. There's Fatty leaning over talking to everyone. All right.
I sent that.
Huh?
I sent that through.
Let me see if I can go back to... I don't know if any of these are any good. What I don't want to do is show anyone's faces. Let's see if I can show you part of it. This isn't the actual video. Our video will be on there. Let's see if I can show you this. I'm not sure what this is talking about. Hang on a minute. Let me see if this is muted or not. Hang on. I apologise for this, people, but I've got to try and find out what it's doing. Unmute tab. Right. So now I'm going on to this. Right. On my microphones, because my microphone was linked. So you should be able to see this, all right? Let's see if I can put that one on.
In a couple of seconds. So that's really important. But making sure you understand is important. And then you've got...
Yeah. What you're getting is a bit of the echo from that. Fourth wall, the shop. So there's a shop on the English Constitution Society. You can get various images, and you can get these plaques made up, quite large. Framed common law constitutional rights. You've got common law constitutional rights belonging to the English. There's a sort of papal copy. You've got various different things you can bring in. You've got bags, you've got cups. We had all this before as well. So hopefully that'll all work. I just got back. Stretchley 120, good evening. So hopefully there's everyone here. We're seeing quite a few out there, so it looks like we've got about 600 or 700 watching. I'm sorry, but I still think Reuters is part of the institutional links. Jack Boo, I'm not disagreeing with you. Listen, I think the only people who are really going to solve this is us. Problem is, we're completely defunded in every way. They won't allow us to talk. We're not getting anyone, getting into us. We need an army of us sending messages to Elon Musk to say, listen, can you help fund the English Constitution Society? Because they're trying, but they're being shut down by the British. That's stretchy, my mistake, £120 an ounce. Who is that one? I'm sorry, but let's have a look. I just got back. Any other questions from anyone? And then we'll go on from there. No other questions. All right. So, again, the actual event was fantastic. The people were fantastic. Lisa and Stephen, and the 5 little Yorkies. What are their names again? Can you like remember
rhubarb,
that?
custard.
Hang on, who?
Rhubarb.
Rhubarb.
Wasn't it?
Rhubarb?
Yeah, but they call it ruby.
Ruby.
Custard.
Custard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crumble.
Oh, crumble.
Crumble.
And was it Dora and Lisa? What's the names? Flora and Dora, is it?
Don't know. I like the little. There's a little dog, right? He's tiny, he is, right? He's lost his teeth, poor thing, right? He's the dad, right? He's tiny. You see some of these dogs, you think he did what? Right? But he sits there, you go. He's lovely. He's proper lovely. He comes over and sits with you, right? And then they're all lovely. I love dogs.
Flo and Dora, yeah.
Flo and Dora.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was right.
It is funny. So it was a massively good event, but we will build up to making these events. I mean, when we do these events all around the country, anywhere from 70, 100, 200, running mead, 300 people turn up. Once they start to allow us to but we are being completely shut down. The algorithms won't allow us to speak. Anything to do with secession, they don't like it at all. But I am going to talk to someone in America about some of the things that they did in court to get the algorithms turned off, so they could then, and they went massive after that. So just to let you know, Truth Finder, exactly. So it is fantastic. So the event itself, I am going to go through my video. The other camera seems to have completely collapsed, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to try and work out what's wrong with that. I put a power supply into it and it weren't working at all. I don't know why. Good night, DD, Janet, and everyone. See you all next time. Yeah, no worries. Good night. God bless to everyone. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. I am tired. I've got a really bad neck, which Janet is going to help me out with. And rub some gear into my neck. But Juicy and Lucy, it will better be when you get your new car. Then no more breakdown. Unlikely. My internet keeps stuttering. There was better in 5v5. Right, so we'll have to wait and see what goes on. That's it. Good night. God bless. See you all soon. And there you go. And don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. Did I just see John Godley Harding out there? I did. Yeah, give me a follow on Twitter. It'd be helpful. That's it. Bye-bye.